Hello, this is a 225 Q&A test. Plaintiff attorney is Mr. Grubaughg, G-R-U-B-A-U-G-H. Defense attorney is Mr. Ducote, D-U-C-O-T-E. Again, plaintiff attorney Mr. Grubaughg, G-R-U-B-A-U-G-H. Defense attorney is Mr. Ducote, D-U-C-O-T-E. Okay, this is going to start out with plaintiff attorney. Ready? Your Honor, I have no idea whose handwriting that is. Okay, let's move on. Now going to the third page between July 24th of 2010 and September 6th of 2010, it is the same question. Do you recognize any of the handwriting on this page? And again, the pencil writing and figures I believe are Max Neiman's, and the red writing and figures I have no idea. I don't recognize that at all. All right, I call your attention particularly to the last two entries of the writing and pen and ask if you recognize that handwriting. It looks all the same to me. Nothing looks different. Now going to the next page, which runs from the months of September of that year through December. Well, either December of 2010 or January of 2011, I'm not sure. Again, do you recognize any of the handwriting? It's the same as the other sheets. The black marks appear to be John Feely's handwriting, and the red marks I have no idea. Okay, you don't recognize the last entries? No, I don't. I don't want to guess. And the final page, which has just 4 entries on it, do you recognize any of the red handwriting? No, I don't. May I see that for just a minute, please? Certainly. Go ahead. Take your time. Thank you. Okay. Now, John Feely was involved in handling the acquisition of the Lakewood property from shortly after the time that Craig first got involved, right up through the close of escrow. Is that correct? Well, he was involved until it was sold, so I'm not sure your ending dates. John Feely negotiated on your behalf with Lee Simpson from shortly after the time that Craig first got involved right up through the close of escrow. Is that correct? That's what I remember. Yes, I think that is correct. Now let me see if I can refresh your recollection about John's involvement in the negotiations. I'm going to do that by reading to you something that's already in evidence. It's from the deposition of Craig Sandberg from page 59 on lines 1 through 18. Your Honor, I object to the reading of Mr. Sandberg's deposition at this time. If counsel wishes to establish a difference between the testimony, he is free to do so in argument. Mrs. Sandberg has been questioned at length. If he wishes to refresh her recollection, he is free to use her deposition. But to read the deposition of Craig Sandberg at this time, I think is improper. And so I object to the procedure on the grounds that it is not offered to refresh the recollection of the witness. It's not properly offered to refresh the recollection of the witnesses. Secondly, it's not properly used to impeach. Therefore, it is not relevant. Is it submitted? It is submitted, yes, Your Honor. Sustained. I think the only exception to that would be if the person had read the entire transcript and there was an acknowledgement, which has not been established. Mrs. Sandberg, are you aware that your husband has testified under oath that John Feely did not get involved in the Lakewood transaction until the end? Objection, Your Honor. It will be sustained. Ask your next question, please. Mrs. Sandberg, was John involved in making the Lakewood deal? The Lakewood deal, was he involved at all? Yes, he was. Mrs. Sandberg, are you aware that your husband has testified John was not involved in making the Lakewood deal but came in after to help you out with problems? Were you aware of this? Objection, Your Honor. He is trying to impeach the witness. It is sustained. Ask your next question, please. Mrs. Sandberg, who was, and more specifically in the month of April, who was collecting the rent on the Lakewood property? Well, I was receiving the rent. I handled that. Were they going through John Feely before they came to you? No, they never did. In 2010, who, if anyone, were they going through before they came to you? It was a post office box. So in 2010, your tenants were mailing their rent to a post office box. Is that correct? Well, if it wasn't 2010, it was shortly thereafter. Yes, I had a post office box, and then I sent them their receipt. I sent them a stamped, returned, addressed envelope for the next month's rent that came to a P.O. box. Prior to that, Sam Goddard received the rent checks. But how long he did that in 2010 through May, I don't remember. In April of 2010, who, if anyone, was keeping track of the rent receipts? I believe I was. I think I was. In April of 2010, who knew how much the tenant was supposed to pay each month? Is that your question? Who knew? Yes, who knew about this? The tenants knew, and I would assume John Feely knew. You would assume that? Yes, because of the tax work that he did. He would know the income from the apartments, yes. He would have a breakdown by apartment for the tax work. It could be, I don't recall. So you don't know. I don't recall. Move to strike the comment that John knew as being not within his knowledge. Submitted, submitted, yes. The motion is granted, the answer is stricken. So what remains now is that she knew and the tenants knew. Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Now, in April of 2010, who was paying the expenses on the apartment? I was. I was paying for all of the expenses. Was John depositing any money for you? No, he wasn't. You were depositing the money yourself? Yes, that's correct. Did you have a separate checking account for this apartment house separate from your other bank accounts? Yes, I always used a separate bank account. Was John Feely able to withdraw or take money out on that account? I don't recall. Did you receive statements from a bank on a regular basis of that checking account? I think so. I don't remember. Did you keep that bank account? As I recall, I did. I don't think I ever closed it. Now, in 2010, who made the decision about what money would be spent on repairs? I guess I did. And in 2010, who made the decisions about what money would be spent on improvements? I did. I was the one who decided where the money would go and what needed to be fixed. Now, did you ever, in 2010, did you apply to the city of Los Angeles? I don't remember. Okay, we have a word list. We've got City of Los Angeles, capital C-I-T-Y, of is lowercase, Los Angeles, capital L-O-S space, capital A-N-G-E-L-E-X, Max Newman, or Neiman, capital M-A-X, Neiman, capital N-E-I-M-A-N, Sam Goddard, capital S-A-M, Goddard, capital G-O-D-D-A-R-D, Lee Simpson, capital L-E-E, Simpson, capital S-I-M-P-S-O-N, Craig Sandberg, capital C-R-A-I-G, Sandberg, capital S-A-N-D-B-E-R-G, Lakewood, capital L-A-K-E-W-O-O-D, that's one word, John Feely, capital J-O-H-N, Feely, capital F-E-E-L-E-Y. And that concludes the 225 Q&A test. Good luck.